Hi everyone, it's Ayush here and welcome back to my channel. I'm excited to share today's video which is on the topic of how you can use the reduce method in JavaScript and what are the benefits of using this method. So without wasting any time, let us dive into the video. So there are two kind of methods by using which we can make our task done in JavaScript. First is the imperative method and the second is a declarative method. So in this video, I'm going to show you the difference between an imperative and declarative method by just taking a very basic example of adding all the elements inside a particular array, or you can say collection of numbers. So let's take a look after the first, that is imperative. In imperative method, we used to use the basic operators as well as the for loops and while loops that we are having as an inbuilt things in JavaScript. So let's take the imperative method first. Let's say we are having a collection of numbers stored in an ARR array that are like 1 comma 2 comma 3. These are the collection of numbers. Now we want to add up all the elements inside this array. So how we can do that? For doing that, we can make a for each loop. But even before that, let me just tell you a very basic thing about addition. That is, you know very well 1 is equal to 1 plus 0, 1 plus 2 equal to 1 plus 2 plus 0, 1 plus 2 plus 3 is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 0. It means if you take the initial sum to be equal to 0, that does not make any difference. If you just add up the values, that makes the same meaning. So we are going to take here the initial sum. Means at the initial stage, we are having the sum to be equal to 0. After that, we are going to say err dot for each, and we are going to take one e. What is e? E is a kind of parameter. We are running a callback function. The parameter of that callback function is e, and e is basically the element through which the loop is iterating. So suppose if you just run this loop for the first time, it's going to go to 1, then to 2, then to 3. Means in every case e is going to be 1, 2, 3 respectively. So we are saying dot for each e means for each element. In simple words, for each element, what we are going to do, we are going to add that element to the initial sum that we are having. In fact, we are just updating the initial sum. So let's say initial sum equal to initial sum plus the element that we are iterating through. So it's going to just update our sum. So let's save this, and after that we are going to say here console.log initial sum. Let's save this. Let's go to the console and let's say a nodemon index.js. And now you can see this is the result. Means we are having an imperative approach. We have just made an imperative method of adding up all the elements inside this array arr. Now if I just you know what, I just change the elements inside this array, then the result is also going to be updated. Like this time, if I just add 4 to this element, is to this array, if I just add 4, it's going to just update the initial sum to be equal to 10. So let's save. You can see 10 is there. So this is known as imperative method. Now let's take a look after the declarative method. In the declarative method, we used to use functions which are inbuilt in JavaScript to make our task done. So let's say a declarative method. And in the declarative method, we are having a reduce function for doing this same task. So in the declarative method also, we are going to have the same array. So let's make that array here. So let's say we are having the array of numbers as 1. Okay, we have just declared this same array 2 times. So let's say err2 equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3. And this time we do not need any kind of initial sum. We are going to simply use the you can say what we call that reduce function. So let's take a variable that is going to be sum is equal to arr2 dot, and you need to write here reduce. When you say reduce, it is going to have a callback function. So in this callback function, I'm going to give it simply like this, a callback. And this callback function is also having two parameters. First is the accumulator, or you can say the previous value and the current value. So let's say acc comma cu for the current value, or let's say cb for the current value. Now what we are going to do, we are going to simply add up the previous value and the current value. So let's say here return acc plus cb. Now you may ask one thing, that suppose if the loop is at the first stage, means you can say at 1, then the previous values does not exist. Either the first, or you can say the current value exists as 1, but the previous value does not exist. So what may be the previous value? For that you need to write here in that's optional. If you don't write here, that then also it's going to work. But in optional, we used to write here 0 because we are adding up like a lot of values. And I just told you that initial sum equal to 0. It means that when you add 1 and 0, you get 1. The same thing. But in reduce function, when we are saying like accumulator is there, means the previous value, because for 1 in the array there is no previous values, right? So for the default previous value, we are going to set it to 0. If it gets any kind of accumulator, it's going to just take that. But if in case it does not get any kind of accumulator, it's going to take 0 as an accumulator in that case. So let's save this thing, and we are having a sum of all these numbers. Let's go there and say console.log sum to see our sum. Let's save this. Now you can see 6 is there. Okay, let me just comment up this one. If I save it, now you can see 6 is there, right? Now if I just increment any kind of element in this array, means if I just update this array, let's give a lot of elements. So now the sum is going to be 16. Let's save this. So you can see 16 is there. So you can see that we just use the reduce function, that is taking the accumulator and the current value, and thus adding up the previous and the current value to get the sum. And what is happening, we are starting from 1 and there is no accumulator for 1, so it will take 0 as a default. Now 1 plus 0 is 1. Now it goes to 2. Now 2's previous value is 1, means the original sum that we got from there. 1 plus 2 is simply that's 3. Now it goes to 3. Now the sum that we obtain from just summing up these two values, we get 3. Now when it goes to 3, it's going to add the initial sum to 3, means the new element. Now it's going to return 6. Then when it goes to 4, it's going to take the initial sum. This time it's going to be 6, because by adding 1 plus 2 plus 3, we are going to get 6. And 6 plus 4 is 10. Similarly, when it goes to 6, 6 plus 10 is 16. And thus we are getting the sum to be equal to 16. So this is a declarative method and this is the imperative method. I hope that you are just clear about this concept. So yeah, that's all for today's video about reduce method in JavaScript. Meet in the next video. Till then, see you.